It has been 3 days since the legal tampering period has opened, and it is day two of the official 2026-2027 NFL season. We've had plenty of moves in free agency so far, and a lot of interesting stories, more specifically with the Las Vegas Raiders, as everybody knows, with Max Crosby. The whole failed physical backing out of the trade. And the Raiders are a team that's been very active this free agency period, getting guys like Tyler Linderbaum, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Naylor, to name four of them. So could have gotten another first round pick this year, but who knows? But we will look at what we think these teams are going to be doing this year in their draft with, once again, another mock draft. This is our free agency edition of our 2026 mock draft. So nothing's really changed with the picks. We would have had the pick 14 for Vegas if that trade still went through, but the Ravens, pulled a little fast one on the Raiders there and backed out. So before we get started, I do want to mention, if you are not subscribed to the channel and this is your first video and you enjoy it, or you keep coming back to my channel and finding my videos, really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. We just eclipsed 500 after our last video at 516 now, and I really appreciate all of your guys' support. We're still trying to hit that mark of 1,000 by the end of the year. We've got 9 months to get 484 subscribers. We can get there. I'd love to hit 1,000. I've got more videos coming out for you. You just got to stick with me and roll with me through this process. So let's hop into it with pick number one. The most obvious pick of them all, Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza's situation in Vegas slightly is getting better. It's getting just a little bit better. Obviously, you get your quarterback in Mendoza. You got rid of Geno Smith. Don't have to worry about that. There's news they might be interested in a Kirk Cousins to mentor Mendoza. I don't know how to feel about them saying Mendoza doesn't start week one. I think Mendoza is one of those guys who's smart enough. You throw him out there week one, you let him work, kind of like Peyton Manning in a way. You throw him out there in week one. But you sign Jalen Naylor, which is good wide receiver depth. He's not a needle mover, but he is a good playmaker and can really be one of those players that gives you 4 catches that you need throughout the game. Not like some 15 target guy, but some guy that you give 5-6 targets and he'll catch pretty much all of them. So good pickup there, and the defense has gotten even better. But the biggest thing is they got themselves an anchor at center in Tyler Linderbaum from Baltimore. He signs with him. Everybody's saying maybe a little bit of an overpay. I don't think so. When you've got the money you do, like the Las Vegas Raiders, and you keep Max Crosby. You've got $38 million still in cap. You go out there, you get Tyler Linderbaum. That team could be very interesting to watch throughout the rest of this offseason in this draft. If they go wide receiver round 2, if they go corner round 2, defense round 2, tackle round 2, who knows? They go a lot of ways, and the Raiders could really flip the switch this year. I think they could be a team, maybe not to the caliber of the Patriots making the Super Bowl in year one with Fernando, but really becoming a competitive team in a stacked AFC West, especially because some of the AFC West teams really aren't doing too much. The Chiefs obviously signing Kenneth Walker, but the Raiders have really been the biggest winner in the AFC West for the offseason. So pick number 2 to the Jets. Yeah, I think we've done it almost every time, either him or David Bailey. We're going to go with Arvell Reese. I still just think Arvell Reese is going to be an edge rusher. He's a great athlete. He's what the Jets could use. They traded away Jermaine Johnson. They got Tavondre Sweat, which I think they could definitely still pair up a defensive lineman with Tavondre Sweat. Not in this spot because it is the second overall pick, but we're gonna go Arvell Reese, the most athletic upside out of any edge rusher this year. So pick 3 to the Cardinals. I'm not going to go too far into it. I just think they need to get a lineman, and that's where Francis Mauigoa comes into play. I think he's all they need. They need something on that line. I've said it so many times. Paris Johnson Jr. is the only good offensive lineman on that team. Now with Kyler gone, Jacoby Brissett might be the QB. You're kind of turning towards the future and getting another good offensive lineman for whoever your quarterback's going to be next year is really, honestly, the number one goal if I'm Arizona. So, pick number 4 to the Tennessee Titans. We're going to go with edge rusher or running backs, what we've been doing. We're going to go with Jeremiah Love. I really think that the Saints and the Chiefs went out and they pursued Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker so heavily because they know Jeremiah Love ain't lasting past 7. If he goes past the Titans, he's going 7 to the Commanders, and it is a surefire. It's a lock of a pick to them. So that's where I think Jeremiah Love's stock is slowly rising. He had a great combine, as we talked about, and the Titans could really use a running back like that. They could use another guy in the backfield with Cam Ward like Jeremiah Love. Maybe be able to use those other running backs they have as a trade piece in the season to a team like the Commanders maybe. But pick 4, Jeremiah Love. There is a world I think they go David Bailey here. This one, I'm not going to do it. We're going to go Jeremiah Love at number 4. Now, pick number 5 to the Giants. We've been going Sonny Styles was our pick last time. But Carnell Tate on the board. Wan'Dale Robinson walks in free agency. We fully expected it. Giants don't have money. They got to get themselves a weapon. They go and get Carnell Tate. Wide receiver 2 alongside Malik Neighbors. You add another weapon. I think we've talked about it in the earlier ones. You add another weapon to Carnell Tate's caliber on your offense full of young studs like Scatabo, Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors. You sign Isaiah Likely, and you add another weapon in Carnell Tate. That's a really good team. Your wide receiver 3, I think, Darius Slayton, maybe, which that's fine. He can be my wide receiver 3, but Carnell Tate here at 5 to the Giants is a great play. Harbaugh just building up that team. He's taken a lot of Ravens players with him. They get Patrick Ricard too, but they keep on building a good roster, a good young roster, and this team could be an interesting team for the future. So they're going to go Carnell Tate. Pick number 6 to the Cleveland Browns. We're going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to go Spencer Fano. Now, I think if the Browns really want true offensive tackle, they will likely go with Monroe Freeling. I think he is the best true tackle in this draft class. I see Malik Noah being able to move inside. Fano's talked about moving inside. And so with the spot that the Browns are in, even though I think they've gone more, they got Elgton Jenkins, they re-signed some of their guys, they just traded for a right tackle. Spencer Fano probably will slot in at the right guard or maybe just anywhere they need him to. But because I don't think Wyatt Teller re-signed. It was Tevin Jenkins, Jenkins, and I can't remember the right tackle's name, but they did just trade for him. Titus Howard, no, I think so, something like that. But Fano could really slot in at that right guard position. He's played, I think, right tackle. He's been playing for the last 2 years. He could slide in, go play that right guard for a team like Cleveland. It is a great pick for him. They could go either way on the offensive line positions for him. So now pick 7 to the Commanders. We're going to go back to the edge rusher. There is no running back in play. Sonny Styles is a great player here, but I just think David Bailey is their biggest need. Their edge rushing need is so substantial. They have such a big gap at that position that I think if he's available here, they have to go with it. They need a player like him who's going to produce numbers, who has athleticism. People, when he had the agility drill in the combine, were like, oh, he's not that agile. Whatever. Watch football. Watch the games. He's going to be a great pick for whoever gets him. Now, pick 8 to the Saints. No Carnell Tate. Linebackers in play with a Sonny Styles here. They could really use a Sonny Styles here, honestly, because Demario Davis is gone. But my thing is Danny Stutzman is on the team. He's a young piece. I still think he can be a very good player for them. Pete Werner on the team. Very, very a good linebacker. Not a very good linebacker, but a good linebacker. And you go out and you sign Caden Ellis back and bring him back to New Orleans on a 3-year deal. So clearly you have an idea of what you want your linebacker core to be. Sonny Styles would be a great addition, but clearly you already have your mindset on what you want your linebacker core to be this year so far. It doesn't seem like they have their mindset on what the edge rushing ability has gone so far, because Cam Jordan is still a free agent. However, that is because he is taking on a $19 million in dead cap the team is taking on, and Cam Jordan's going to probably be around that $12 million mark. Do you pay a 37-year-old guy and you get a $31 million total cap hit because of him onto your team? Because the cap hit doesn't go away if he resigns. It just adds on. So I think they've got more of a question mark at the edge rusher position, which leads me to lean towards Bain Jr. And Bain Jr., the arms has been an issue for people, but I think it's ridiculous if you're going to count a guy out like him because of his arm length. I mean, are we serious right now? His arm length. He's a monster of an edge rusher. He put up numbers at Miami. He was a main reason. Him and his teammate Akeem Mesidor were big reasons they made that national championship game. And the Saints get themselves an edge rusher to pair up greatly with Chase Young. Now, 9 to the Kansas City Chiefs. We are going to honestly only go one direction. I think, the tackle or the defensive lineman, some people saying the wide receivers in play here. I think after trading away McDuffie, you need to go and figure out that cornerback position because Jalen Watson leaves to the LA Rams as well. You have a very thin cornerback room. Delane comes right in. He is a great player. No penalties last year, no touchdowns allowed. He's smart. I've said this about him all the time. If he makes a mistake, you don't see him make that mistake again. And it's not just in that game. It's throughout the rest of the season. He learns from every play. He absorbs the information so well that a player like him, you cannot pass up on, especially when you have a thinning depth chart at corner like the Chiefs do. So Kansas City goes Delane at pick 9. And to wrap up the top 10, the Cincinnati Bengals, we're going to switch it up. We've been going Caleb Downs, I think, for the past month to the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to go Sonny Styles, linebacker. You need linebacker in Cincinnati. That defense is atrocious. You could go any position on defense, and you got an A grade, unless you reach, of course. But you're getting A or a B grade on your first round pick if you're Cincinnati and you take one of those top defensive players on the board. I think the only way you mess up is if you pick a wide receiver or a quarterback, because why would you be picking either of those positions? But Sonny Styles is an athletic monster. He's a giant of a linebacker. He's a physical player. He's fast. He's side to side. He can do it. He can do a lot of stuff for you. And the Bengals had one of the worst linebacking groups in all of football last year. So Sonny Styles rounds up my top 10. So with that, at pick 11, I'm going to have the Miami Dolphins kind of, their whole defensive back group went into free agency. Minkah Fitzpatrick's gone. They traded him. So they're going to go Caleb Downs. I believe I had Caleb Downs going to Miami at the beginning of my very first mock draft this year. And it's funny that I've circled back to Caleb Downs in Miami. And it's just because that team lost a lot of defensive back help last year with trading Jalen Ramsey, with letting Javon Holland walk. And now this year, they've let their defensive back room become thin once more. So Caleb Downs is a guy, especially in the situation that they are in, can play multiple positions. They absolutely need a guy like Caleb Downs. And so I have to go pick 11 here, Caleb Downs. It makes the most sense for the Dolphins. I think if Spencer Fano falls to 11 here, they 100% jump on that and they pick Spencer Fano. They could move him into guard. They could also go Vega Ioane. But I think when Caleb Downs, despite all the knee speculation that people are worried about with him being here, you're going to pick him with the defensive back room that you have currently. Now, pick 12 to the Cowboys. Cowboys fans, sorry, Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs is not here. They're your two favorite players probably in this draft. Delane, your third favorite player probably in this draft. He's also not here. So we're going to have to, make do with what we've got, and we need defensive back. You could go Dylan Thieneman, which I think we did last time, but we're going to go Jermod McCoy, because as much as Dylan Thieneman had a great combine, as much as this team could use a defensive back, I think Jermod McCoy is more what they need currently. I like Thieneman. I still am just up in the air between Thieneman and McNeil Warren as my safety 2. Dylan Thieneman, according to PFF, is the CB2 or the safety 2, but Emmanuel McNeil Warren is kind of my I told you so prospect this year. It feels like I've been big on him since before the Senior Bowl, so I really think that he could be the second best safety, and the Cowboys could really use either of those guys. I just think corner position in Dallas is the biggest concern, and Jermod McCoy, despite not playing in 2025, had a great 2024, and he has the physicals to be a top pick. So Jermod McCoy to the Cowboys at 12. Now, pick 13 to the Rams. The Rams fans, you are going to be really happy if this happens. Makai Lemon to the Los Angeles Rams to make that wide receiver room even scarier. We talked about it. That team is terrifying on offense. You add Makai Lemon, that makes it even more terrifying. The only other player I think I would go with here is Monroe Freeling, if they want to go offensive line. But we're going to go Makai Lemon just to stick with that, boost up that offense, make it even scarier. So 14 here to the Ravens. The Ravens, Vega Ioane, they currently do not have a rostered right guard, as of yesterday at least. I checked their depth chart, and they don't have a right guard listed. They do have 3 left guards, but they don't have a right guard. So that might have changed, or maybe vice versa. But they need a guard. Vega Ioane is a fantastic guard. There you go. There's your match made right there. Boom. You got yourself your first-round pick. And you keep that first-round pick. You went and got Trey Hendrickson. Kind of just bashed your reputation across the league. But, hey, at least you get to pick Vega Ioane at pick 14. So, 15 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kenyon Sadiq very much in play. Edge rusher is what I think they need the most. Akeem Mesidor, who we talked about when we talked about Ruben Bain, is one of the big reasons why that team at Miami made the national championship. So with that, Akeem Mesidor, I think, really would just be the right pick for Tampa Bay. They need an edge rusher, in my opinion. I think in a lot of people's opinion. Yaya Diaby's fun to watch, but he's no crazy player. Akeem Mesidor is a crazy player in college. So that will be pick 15. Now at 16 to the New York Jets. I can't look at that wide receiver room, man. That wide receiver room is disgustingly bad. So Jordan Tyson at 16 to New York. They've got a lot of things to work on. Geno Smith's going to probably be your quarterback this next year, which is just a big yikes. You're definitely tanking for next year, but Jordan Tyson is a great pickup because next year you can go and get yourself a pretty good player. See whoever the best QB is next year in the college football. Let's see who that ends up being, but Jordan Tyson here, 16 to the Jets. 17 here for the Lions. We're going to go offensive line instead of defensive line. Monroe Freeling to the Lions. They could use offensive line. There's some players on that O-line that are getting older. Monroe Freeling, as I've said, is the most true tackle prospect in this draft. And you just signed Isaiah Pacheco. You let go of David Montgomery. You're going to have Pacheco and Gibbs, of course, in the backfield. You got to keep Jared Goff safe. So with that being said, I think you really do need Monroe Freeling to keep your backfield safe. And so the Lions go offensive line here because he falls to 17. Now 18 to the Minnesota Vikings. Dylan Thieneman, not Daniel, and Emmanuel McNeil Warren are my only 2 things I'm even thinking about. We're going to go Emmanuel McNeil Warren this time. I do just like his refinement I guess that's the best way to say it. I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is a little bit more of a refined player than Thieneman. I think they're both very skilled, and they're very ready to play. I might be a little biased towards McNeil-Warren, but I like the way that the speed that he plays at, the athleticism he has. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is everything that this team could really use. So pick 18 here to the Vikings. Harrison Smith I think is retiring, honestly. But you go Emmanuel McNeil-Warren here at 18, you get that safety position. Now 19 to the Panthers. It's going to be the quickest thing I've ever done. It's Kenyon Sadiq. You fall to 19. The Panthers could use another weapon like him to give. Tate put the league on notice his rookie year. He's going to get a little bit more attention. You get a guy like Kenyon Sadiq to kind of take advantage of defenses giving all the attention to Tate. And then Jalen Coker, too, But Kenyon Sadiq, right there, to be able to capitalize on that, give Bryce Young another weapon. I love watching Kenyon Sadiq play football. This is a great pick here at 19. Pick 20 to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they could go Dylan Thieneman here now. He's still here. But we're going to go C.J. Allen. They could use a linebacker. C.J. Allen, I think, is great sideline to sideline. I think he's a player that Dallas really needs. They need a linebacker, and I cannot stress this enough. They need linebackers. They need linebackers. They could go D-tackle, too. So they did just trade 3 of them. They're shifting their scheme from a 4-3 to a 3-4. So the D-tackle position has kind of changed for them. Hence why they've traded 2 of their D-tackles. But C.J. Allen, a great player for him in a must-need position at pick 20. For the Cowboys, 21 to the Steelers. No wide receiver, no more. We got Michael Pittman here, baby. We're going to go Dylan Thieneman. You could use a safety. Dylan Thieneman's still here. Tackle is another great position that you could possibly go with. But for the tackles right now, Caden Proctor, Blake Miller, Caleb Lomu, all of these guys here, I don't think go 21. Especially when you have Dylan Thieneman here. You could go another interior. You went Harmon last year, but we're going to go Dylan Thieneman. Pick 22 to the Chargers. You don't have a guard available to your disposal right now. So I'm going to go Peter Woods. I still think, honestly, if they're doing a little bit more into it, Peter Woods, I think, is falling down because of the production he had at Clemson this year. But he's still an insane player. He's still one of the better defensive tackles prospects we've seen in a while. And I think there should be no reason. If Caleb Banks is drafted before him, it makes sense to me. But I think there's no reason, honestly, that he should not be in contention for the first defensive tackle drafted. I mean, as we look, first defensive tackle drafted at 22, which is pretty crazy that it's at 22. But a lot of teams need a lot of things this year. It's pretty crazy. Philadelphia Eagles at pick 23. 2 things. Corner, edge rusher. We're going to go edge rusher. We're going to go Keldrick Faulk. You could also see them maybe going defensive tackle, shipping off Jalen Carter. Who knows? They extend Jordan Davis. But tight end not available here. They can't get Kenyon Sadiq, which kind of bums them out. So they go Keldrick Faulk, who I'm a little worrisome on how he is going to be. Not the craziest athleticism. Does have great upside. I mean, athleticism as in the numbers he posted in his vertical and his broad, but he didn't jump, he didn't run and do stuff like that. We'll see if he does anything at the pro day for Auburn, but we'll go 23 to the Eagles. 24 to the Browns. Browns, you got yourself a offensive lineman at 6. You could still double dip. We're not going to. We're going to go wide receiver. We're going to go Omar Cooper Jr. He has really shot up the board at a Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion. Honestly, he was about here in between Skylar Bell. Elijah Surratt really falling down a little bit too. They really just seem to like Omar Cooper a lot. Trending upward. Look at that. And the Browns could use a wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy's not going to cut it. You need a wide receiver. Omar Cooper Jr. is a good pick. So, pick 25 here to the Chicago Bears. They could go line. Honestly, they could go offensive line like a Blake Miller. But we're going to go Caleb Banks. They could use defensive tackle. Caleb Banks is a very good defensive tackle rushing the passer. I think that makes that team a little bit more scarier than maybe a Caden McDonald. So we're going to go with Caleb Banks here to Chicago. That division is a very tough division. Chicago's got to do their best to keep on building off of what they just did this last year. The safety position is still scaring me. Yes, you did just get Kobe Bryant, but Kevin Byard walked in free agency. I think Gardner Johnson's still a free agent, and Jaquan Brisker's still out there, but maybe Brisker comes back to Chicago. But we'll go with Caleb Banks for now, because obviously there's no point in drafting an A.J. Halsey here at 25. Now, 26 to the Bills. I think Bills fans, you should be really happy if this guy's still here at 26. Cassius Howell. He is one of my guys at edge. He plays at 110%. He might just be a pure pass rush kind of guy, but he plays so fast. He is explosive. He's going to run right by a tackle to get yourself a big play on third downs, and the Bills need that, especially with an aging Joey Bosa. San Francisco 49ers at pick 27. Hey, they just signed Dre Greenlaw. Good for them. At pick 27, we'll scroll down a little bit, and we've done this quite a bit, but we're going to go Caden Proctor. Trent Williams might be traded, too, honestly. They've been talking about that, exploring the option of it. But despite that, long-term future at the tackle position in San Fran is very questionable. You went and got a wide receiver in Mike Evans in free agency. You are losing Juwan Jennings, of course. But that was your big issue. I think the reason why Casey Concepcion, Chris Brazzell, even any of these guys has been in consideration for pick 27. That's out the window now with Mike Evans. But even though he's pretty old, but I think you go tackle now, and Caden Proctor's available, and you figure that out. Houston Texans here at 28. Could go O-line, but let's go Caden McDonald. Make that defense even scarier than it is right now. That is a great game plan, if you ask me. A fantastic game plan, and something that teams honestly should always do it is lean into your team identity and go make it better. Caden McDonald does just that. And we've talked about their D-line position, the D-line future in Houston. Caden McDonald helps rejuvenate that defensive tackle position. Kansas City Chiefs at pick 29. Avion Terrell would be a perfect pick here if we didn't pick Mansour Delane at 9. TJ Parker would be a great pick here. Blake Miller, I think it's between the two Clemson boys, honestly. TJ Parker, Blake Miller. And with that, since he's kind of had a little bit of a jump up, and I've been kind of thinking about him for a while. We're going to throw him in there. Somebody, I think they were saying on the last video that the Chiefs don't need a tackle. They drafted with drafting, Josh Simmons last year. I still think you need another one. There is 2 tackle positions. You cut Jawan Taylor. The other guy, I can't think of his name right now, but the guy that's supposed to be the starter isn't really going to cut it. Blake Miller. You get 2 young tackles on your line for a rehabbing Patrick Mahomes. That's perfect. Pick 30 now to the Denver Broncos. We're gonna do something a little fun here. Linebacker is probably their biggest need. Jake Golday, a really good linebacker, and I think he needs a little bit more recognition. We had somebody put him in the comments yesterday. I've watched a little bit more on him, or not yesterday, last week. Needs more recognition. Kyle Lewis jumping up people's boards. We talked about him as going as early as a 3rd, 4th rounder based off of how athletic he could be. He was a 5th round pick, when we made that video, but now he's a 3rd, 4th. But Jacob Rodriguez has jumped up these boards a lot. I think a lot of people were worried about how old he is, maybe his size. He went out there and he balled out for Texas Tech last year. There is no reason he doesn't. There's nothing that you can say to tell me that he does not deserve to be a 1st-round pick. The Broncos need a linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez straight to Denver. That mustache plays in the Mile High. Now, the New England Patriots at pick 31. we're going to continue to go with edge rusher, and we're going to go T.J. Parker. All right. So I think Clavon Chasen just left. He signed somewhere else. Excuse me. But, excuse me, man. But because of that, you get T.J. Parker. I've been going Zion Young the last two because I really do like Zion Young. I think he might be a little more than better than T.J. Parker. T.J. Parker, honestly, has been plummeting. I was talking about this the other day. It's crazy. He was like a consensus top 6, top 5 prospect, and then he just shoots down the board. Still think there's a world where he goes in the first round, and so we'll have him go 31 to the Patriots. And then finally, the defending Super Bowl champs get Avion Terrell to replace Reek Woolen to round up the first round. So that'll be this first round mock draft. Taking a look at the picks here. Scroll down a little bit so you can see the last picks. Let me know what you guys think. Who you want your favorite team to draft, and who do you think is going to be a sleeper player? Maybe a first round pick guy that's not being projected to be a first round pick guy. What do you think? Just let me know down in the comments. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. We've got a Bud Clark video coming out in the future. We have a 2027 draft prospect video coming out in the future as well, very early through the 2027 draft cycle, maybe within the next month before 2026 draft is over, because there's a player in the 2027 draft that'll likely be in it, at least, that I'm really excited to talk about and put more attention on to. So that'll be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you made it to the end of the video and you enjoyed, or you keep coming back, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.